Hello everybody, it's me. Welcome back to the video. Now, in this video, we are going to be going over the Season 2 balance patches to Doodle World. Now, I haven't really done Doodle World in a little bit because of what's been going on with LL, but I woke up and I was like, you know what? I want to go over these balance patches with you. Now, I've already read over them and reacted to them, but I want to read over them with you guys in case you guys haven't seen them or you are unable to join Discord because you aren't old enough. But yeah, I will of course be having some battles playing in the background, and honestly I'm pretty excited because when I read over them I know that there were some annoying things that are finally maybe becoming balanced, but we shall see. But I guess without further ado, get straight into it. Alright, so heading straight into it, we are going to have, I will also leave the patch notes in the description if you also want to go read those. So first thing we have is a new scroll purchasable with VP, Energy Wave. 80 base power, 100% accurate, magical melee move. Zapoera, Sumos, Anoxious, Kaleidoscunk, and Malotrick. Reasoning, fun tool for doodles who could use reliable melee coverage / magical melee stab. Which is honestly kind of fair. Sumo's not gonna use it. Actually, I don't know if it's magic attacks actually. Actually, that's not horrible. I guess Pandishi could probably run that. Zapoera seems kind of funny, like Thunder Strike, Energy Waves. Anoxious could be kind of cool because Anoxious actually is not that bad on the magic side, and plus since you can use lethal, you can now run Goo Blast with Energy Wave, and you can run ranged Anoxious because that would still work with direct combatant, and it's just a bit stronger than usual, so normal melee walls would not be unable to wall you. For Kaleidoscunk, that also works because you're able to hit kill intel pretty hard, which is probably one of Kaleidoscunk's best checks, and that also is going to further encourage magical Kaleidoscunk, which means the awakened form is going to be magical. But yeah, then we have Malotrick, which it getting magical coverage like that means it can more easily deal with dark types, but it probably won't help it all that much. But yeah. And then we're going to get into some buffs. So there's a lot of buffs and not a lot of nerfs because not a whole lot of things were super broken as of recent. Sand damage buff from 1/20th to 1/16th. Reasoning is consistently with other weathers, which, yeah, that makes sense. Sand was kind of lackluster. I never wanted to use sand, but I mean, with that 1/16th, that means it's, like, with bees up and stuff, that could be pretty solid. Careless Assault, 50% recoil to 33% recoil. Reasoning, it got over nerfed, makes it a viable wall breaking tool while still having a drawback. I wholeheartedly agree. Careless Assault was way too overly nerfed. The 33% is very nice because now I will not die in one hit if I hit something with 200 health and I have 100 health and I one-shot it, right? That was my issue before, is it was just not a good move. Assail was better, which is, no, that's not true. Assail is awful. But yeah, this also will help Springling, Dracothread, Frigale's getting a pretty nice buff. That basically anything that liked to use Careless Assault before is going to really like this buff because they're not going to be dying and lose half their health in one move. It also would help Reliable, which is kind of cool. Then we have Vengeance, which procs on switch-ins, which I don't entirely get what this means, but I think it means that if they switch out and don't hit you and you have Vengeance and they switch something in, you're doing 30% more on them switching in. I think that's what it means. Reasoning is because nothing really uses this ability, and it would make it worth using more. Then we have a Calamander buff, which is getting Double Bite. Reasoning, the beast typing it gets after awakening really drags it down. Those moves would help it use that typing offensively. It says those moves, but I don't see anything else. It only says Double Bite, but maybe it would get, like, Fast Food. If you got Fast Food, Double Bite, Sugar Rush, Earth Surge, honestly a wild set on Calamander. Then we have Deferno A, which gets 10 magical attack, and Reasoning, Noob Car made it quite underwhelming. With this buff, it would help make it a threatening late game cleaner. I haven't used Awakened Deferno yet because I've been doing LL stuff. I kind of felt bad because I haven't been doing anything in Doodle World. I try to balance them, but I've just been doing a lot of LL. It's not really an excuse, but I could just do 2 things a day, which is what I'm planning on doing today. I don't know why Awakened Deferno was so underwhelming. I guess I could go check the damage calc, like Deferno Awakened compared to normal Deferno. Oh, it sucks. Yeah, I can see why you think that's underwhelming. I don't get why you don't. Yeah, that's weird. That wasn't balanced very well. I won't lie. Giving it 40 attack and you're scared to give me any other stats is kind of dumb. I won't lie. You can also boost things up a little to be a little quicker, you know? Make it be like threatening, right? Give it 99. Give it 101. That'd be wild. Give it 101. Remove some of that useless melee attack. And then we have Potter Fiend. It's getting Siphon Soul. Reasoning, offers it a good reliable magic dark stab to abuse while increasing its longevity. I like this one because honestly Potter Fiend's kind of a fun doodle to use, and it also getting an option to recover if it gets low after armor breaking is great. And if under sand screen it would be even better, and honestly good. I like that one. And now Lewis. Mortal Cleanse. Removes hazards on both sides, +1 speed and attack. It gets Tidy Up that Mousehold has. Reasoning. Besides being a funny change, it's to help it be a more offensive threat. It's balanced out by its poor bulk and below average coverage. I am going to disagree with the below average coverage. It's not that bad. Later when it gets Careless Assault, it'll be even better. Like right now it could use, unfortunately you would have to use Assail, an awful move. You could go Assail, Blessed Blade, Mortal Cleanse, and then like up to you, Firecracker. That would be hilarious, but no. Honestly, with Careless Assault and Blessed Blade, it'll get eventually is already like solid coverage because at that point the best things that can wall you would be most metal types. And if you just get something to threaten metal types, Lewis could be a crazy late game cleaner. I don't know, like if you really think about it, it's kind of a crazy change for Lewis. And then Cacmeow is getting Earthquake at level 52. Reasoning, lacks any good endgame Earth moves, which yeah makes sense. But we're not in the end game right now. We're like in the mid points of the meta in PvP. I feel like you can look at something and be like, oh, that'd be much better when it comes out later, right? But yeah, Cacmeow is definitely something that's been in the game for a while and definitely deserves to have this. I guess it's a thing whenever you look at it, like if you're going to add something in a new route, it should have some kind of niche, you know? I guess it's kind of hard because there's so many things in this game that you have to balance and give their own thing, which can be stressful sometimes, but it's a fun challenge. And then Grotto A. Reasoning. Incredibly underwhelming in comparison to other awakenings, would help it stand out as a good bulky, more offensive support with plus 11 attack. I don't think Grotto was that terrible. I mean, what, it had Extinguisher, so you can't burn it, right? 115 attack with... I think what made this thing so busted in the first place was when it had Pearl Stitch. It had Heal, Pearl Stitch, Hydraulic Press, and, like, Scapegoat. That's what made it so strong, is that it could break stall things so easily. You just Scapegoat on their switch into a bulky thing, and if it's, like, bulky with not a good way to hit you, it's like over, right? That's what made it so good, was Pearl Stitch. But then that got gutted because people were complaining too much that it was broken, which yeah, is fair. Or you can just prepare for it and stop complaining. But yeah, I guess it makes sense. Giving it 10 attack probably won't help it at all though. In my opinion, I don't think it's going to help. Kelpimer, Enlightenment and Storm Heal. Reasoning, make it a better bulky attacker and a more threatening offensive presence. Honestly, pretty solid change for Kelpimer. Getting Enlightenment's nice because it has a lot of coverage, but then at that point you have to run like Enlightenment, 3 moves, you know, Storm Heal. You could run like Enlightenment, Storm Heal, and then 2 of your best coverage moves. Wouldn't be that bad. And I don't know, I'd say it's okay. I'd say it's like pretty good for it though. I think it's gonna really appreciate those 2 moves. And then we have Volt Enchant. Toughen and Sharpen. Reason. Diversify its roles from a bulky Enlightenment setter to a potential Toughen/Sharpen setter, while also giving it more wall breaking potential. Honestly, when I first saw this, I kind of popped the heck off. I think it's an insanely good change. Because then you can just get +2 with Volt Enchant almost instantly. And if you're running attack and health, right? It's honestly crazy how strong it gets to be. You have Electro Slash, Dark Slash, Daze, Iron Slash, but you're never using Iron Slash because you have Daze. You can run Sharpen, Electro Slash, Iron Slash. No, not Iron Slash. I think you would use Storm Heal, Sharpen, Electro, and Dark or Daze. It's really up to you. But I feel like in the end, the Enlightenment set would always be better. I think my plan with Enlightenment was to go with Enlightenment, Storm Heal, Psycho Force or Psychokinetic, and Thunderstorm. That was my plan with that. Because of Volt Enchant's lackluster melee coverage, it doesn't really outshine the ranged one in my opinion. Because Water Mind Electric is honestly really great. I'd say like give it another coverage option on the melee side. This to make this one shine a bit more. But just having Electric, Dark, and Fighting, I don't know. At that point, you're struggling with, like, move syndrome. I guess at that point. And then Mothra getting Earth Surge. Reasoning, to make the magic set viable. Okay. Mothra A ability rework. New trait, Warden. Let me know if you heard this from somewhere. This doodle takes 50% less damage on the first attack per switch-in. Reasoning, ever since it lost Levitate, Mothra A's usage has hit rock bottom. With those changes, it could perhaps get a niche of being an incredibly bulky attacker. It's getting tank from LL, where it just tanks 50% on the first move it gets, which is honestly, yeah, that'll be interesting for Mothra A. Definitely. Honestly, if you just want to go all crazy with it, give it Scram. That'd be hilarious. But no, this trait, this like ability is awesome because now you're gonna be able to tank one initial hit and probably save yourself from a game, and you can make it magical or you can make it melee. It's entirely up to you. Honestly, good change for Mothra A, and we'll see what happens with it. Still having that quad weakness to Earth though is not very nice, I won't lie. And then Vixlor is getting Foxfire to 65 to 70, and then cures all status of allies, and Reasoning makes the signature less pathetic. Yeah, fair. Velodo, Ravenous Rush, I think is a beast type quick strike. Makes a decent revenge killer. Pompabour, Toughen, okay, I could care less. Pompabour sucks. Cragilde, Heat Bash, better coverage outside of Firecracker and Fiery Bite. Fair, fair. If you want to make it crazy, give it like maybe Venom Bite. more Earth and Poison. No, this is a solid change. Moss, Life Sap, and Enlightenment. Give it a role of a bulky magical attacker and make it more on par with its brother sister of Doodle Mold. Fair, I would say that's nice. It's also faster than Mold, so now it could actually potentially beat Mold in a 1v1 if it gets its Enlightenments up, which is solid. I think it's fine. Moss probably still won't perform that well because any plant type. I mean, doesn't it have Cone of Cold? Plant, water, ice. That could be scary, actually. Thinking about that now, that's actually freaky. And now, Geluminous. Tsunami. Reasoning, Dex consistency will also give you a way to deal with ground types at Hard Wallet, plus Grufflins and Roteras who love to spam hit and run. So basically, if you're running Entangle, you have to pick one of these things. You can't, with Rotera, you cannot Shatter Geluminous, because it will be trained to beat you, right? And live at least one hit. Free Tsunami. And if you hit and run, you'll get Entangled, which then you're trapped, so then you die in one hit. Same thing with Grufflin. You can't pivot or else you are going to die. Though I think Takeout's more used on Grufflin. I use Takeout more. But I think it's double pivot. I think you use Takeout, hit and run, Psychic Ram, and something else. And yeah, Theaterror A, Spiteful Rework. 30% more damage from boosted allies to reverses the type chart. Meaning, now things that... This is what's kind of confusing to me. Goes 0x to 2 times weaknesses, 2 times to resist. So if something is super effective, it resists it. If it's weak to something, if it was weak to something originally, it's now going to resist it. And then if it resists did something, it's now going to be hit super effectively. But I want you guys to check something. If we go to Theaterror Awakened, right? Go to Theaterror Awakened form. Look at the resistances. What do you see? There's none. Meaning now, Theaterror only has resists. It resists plant, beast, and insect. Sheesh. This thing has absolutely no way of being hit super effectively. Alongside it having 150 melee defense, 105 magical defense. Honestly, kind of wild. Such a good change for Theaterror A, because now it's never actually going to be hit super effectively, if I did read that correctly. Honestly, hilarious, and I love it. And then you have Reliconis getting Necromancy. Make the Reform form more worth it / easier, and a much better late game cleaner. It's not going to help. Give it Pursuit. Don't be afraid. Spunny, Doll Eyes to Forbidden Knowledge. Doodles that make contact with this doodle get inflicted with Sonata of Darkness. Honestly, kind of funny. I like this thing because now it's just like if it's a 1v1 against something and you can't beat it, just go into Spunny and Sonata it. I think it's kind of funny because now if you can trap something somehow, you go Sonata, like Forbidden Knowledge, Boomerang, right? They contact move, you switch out, you go into something that can trap them. This would be really funny with pre-patch or pre-nerf Ella Fortune, right? You have Forbidden Knowledge, hits you the contact move. You have Boomerang, you switch into Ella Fortune. They're dead. Immediately. That'd be hilarious. I do like this ability. It's a W. Necromancy, 50 to 55. Make it a viable option for late game cleaning spirit types. It's still a bad move. You're not using it because it's just not worth it. I just do not think that this move is worth it. If you want to make it better, increase it by 20 power per death. Do it like the Blessed Blade stuff. You know, if you do that, that'll probably make it useful. But Necromancy is still a very bad move. I would not use this move. The 5 power increase, not going to help. Just make it every kill on the enemy team is 20 base power. That goes to 75, to 105, to 125, to 145, to 165. It's a 165 base power spirit type move that has 2 immunities, I might add. 2, by the way. 2. In Pokemon, it has 1 immunity being normal and like pretty subpar resists. And you also resist it with Crystal. I really don't think Necromancy is going to be that good. Unless you make it 20 base power increase per death, and then make it like 60 base power, you get up to like 170. I don't know, 160. I don't know. Kind of mid still, in my opinion. I think it's still fairly mid. Zapwira lightning kicks and helicopter kicks to 25 base power, meaning they now have Zapwira now has a 125 base power stab option, which is great. And then they're still 90% accurate, 95 accurate. Sir Sablade is regaining Unbreakable, and it's gonna basically the logic is more reliable pylon setter. Rhino Stone, Mock Charge, moves last, force opponents to switch. Okay. I guess their thing with helps ramping up Beast Summonship and stopping setup sweepers just makes sense. But if they're setup sweeped, it's Rhino. It's Rhino Stone. They're gonna die anyway. I guess. Sure. Margrim Apparition boosts the moves, become a spirit type by 30%. Yeah, very good. Makes Mirror Margrim a lot stronger. And it's just a better wall breaker. And yeah, and this logic here helps Margrim become a better wall breaker, balanced by the abundance of light and basic types. Again, right? Like, again, do that with Necromancy. Seriously, it's right there, right? I don't know if it's just me, but like, them saying that there's an abundance of light and basic types and then not making Necromancy stronger doesn't make sense to me. You don't have to be afraid. If it's too strong, you can just nerf it, but I don't think it's gonna be that strong. I really don't think it would be. Like, it would just make spirit type scary, so you can just build around that. You can bring a light type, you can bring a crystal type, you can bring a spirit type, not a spirit, a basic type, a dark type. There's ways of dealing with it. I don't know. I really want to see Necromancy reconsidered to 20 base power, like per death on your team. That would not be that strong. It really wouldn't be. I don't think it would be at all. And Exile is getting Light Hook. 80 base power physical light move. This move enables user to attack first, If the target's not using a damaging move, this move will fail. So basically, it's light type Sucker Punch, and it's also getting Disarm, which makes the hidden trait more worth considering and making a better progress maker. Yeah, you can get more progress with Disarm, and plus you can really stop offensive setup sweepers rather than like defensive ones that are trying to like what could you stop? Sharpen setup sweepers, because then you have Light Hook. You could stop like Aluminja if it's chipped a little bit, and that would be nice. And then it can't really do anything unless it FTLs, which would out prioritize your Light Hook, and then that would fail. Unless they make Light Hook 2 priority, then that would be nice against that. Psychic Ram, 85 to 100. Finally, this move sucks. God, took a while, but yeah, W change makes Mind a better physical stab option. Antennaflight Relentless prevents speed drops to block self-stat drops, but not drops from the opponent. Reasoning, use this ability on Antennaflight for all game, would make it good for once against Aerostorm, which I think lowers its magical attack, which honestly could be crazy. Enchanted, Sapphire, Aerostorm, Antennaflight, gonna be wild. That'll be funny. Definitely funny. Is the music still playing? Okay, we still got it. And then we have Goat, which gets Warcry. Reasoning, Warcry and Hyper Voice. Reasoning, underwhelming offensive doodle. This is to help it stand out more offensively in both areas. Yeah, I can see that. Giving it Hyper Voice as well is going to help with Galvanize. Warcry is going to help Galvanize. I think it's solid overall, and Warcry is always a good option for underrated things if you just don't really want to think about another thing to do. But I think Warcry was something on GoBot that is deserved. You can also just give it better coverage options. I don't know what its coverage options are. Let me look. Like, here's the thing. If you're gonna give something a setup, here's my thing with like these things. Like okay, you have 95 attack with 60 speed. Probably still not gonna be able to use it that effectively. So let's see. It has Beast. It has Beast Typeless, which essentially becomes Electric. So Beast, Electric, Fighting. So Beast, Electric, Melee, Fire, Earth, Water, and Mind. I was not aware I got all that. I don't know. It, like, I'm not sure, but that might help it. I don't know. I don't use Goat. I didn't know it had all that coverage stuff. But yeah, that'll probably do something for it now that I know it has those moves. But yeah. And then Stalagant, this is an awesome change. True power, 25% to 50%. Reasoning, make it a more reliable wall breaker that's slightly harder to revenge kill, which is a W. Reworks. Alright, we're done with buffs. There are no more buffs. Now just reworks and nerfs. Frozen TV Dinner. Makes all moves negative priority instead of setting speed to 1. Reasoning, just to keep it consistent with the description, which is now kind of sad because you can't use super fast things under reverse singularity, which would be really, really funny. Imagine using a Zapawira under reverse singularity. That'd be cool. But yeah, kind of a sad change. But hey, I guess it makes it so you can like use Gleeful Ruse Mascomedy a bit better if you're not going to want to use the Awakened form. And we have Escapist. Guarantees fleeing from wild doodles to immune to pursuit and trap effects. And yeah, it would be fun, could be given to doodles later on. Imagine giving Escapist to something that's quad weak to dark. My god, people would be so mad. But I wonder if that would still boost the power of pursuit or the move would just fail. It says immune, so I assume it's just going to completely fail. And then max speed equipments change. All max speed equipments, Amber, Pale, Sunbonnet Candy, Earphones, Magnificent Top Hat, give 3 less speed except for Dusty Bandana and Sandstone Necklace. So now, Amber Trap Fly is getting 17 speed with minus 20 health. Fluffy Feather is giving minus 5 with 15. Amber Trap Fly sucks now. It's terrible. Pale Sunbonnet, I don't really remember the speed. I think it was 15. So I don't know. Like, the existence, reasoning is speed creeping max speed doodles is currently a little unreasonable to do, even if you are significantly faster than them, which nerfing this to make this task more reasonable while still impacting how much offensive investment you can run. Maybe. I don't know, because if you're just changing if you're changing speedier stuff, the max speed stuff is just going to use those speedier things and adapt to it. You're just making everything in the game slower. I don't know. if this is really gonna help this max speed change thing to do, thingamabobber. But maybe it would. Actually, thinking about it now, yeah, it would help. Because if you have like 100 speed and something has 120 speed, and the 120 speed likes to use more offensive attacking equipment, and the 100 speed guy can use max speed to outspeed you. I guess now they can't really do that as effectively, and it's easier to... Yeah, now it makes more sense now I'm thinking about it. I was thinking about it like it didn't make any sense. But now it's making more sense. And here we go. Irrekill. Expectorate becomes a magical move, getting Feral Fury and Goo Blast, and Mischievous going from 50% to 30%. And I don't believe the trait nerf needs much explaining. This guy is way too bulky and is a ridiculous setup sweeper. Expectorate becoming magical, and the addition of new magical moves make up for the lack of magical move pool. I think I actually had a cool idea for this. Oh, wait a minute. I wonder. So I actually had a conversation with one of the, I don't know if it's the balancer, but Carr. He's one of the Doodle World. I think he helps with balancing, or he balances some stuff sometimes. I said you should make it so Mischievous becomes 50 to 30%, and if it has a stat increase, because he was planning on taking away Warcry, which I think is too much. You know, Warcry is not the issue with Irrekill; it's the ability. And I was like, how about after it has a status increase or a stat buff, it takes 30% more. So basically how it would work is when it switches in, if the enemy has a stat, it gives the enemy a stat buff, and you take 30% less. But if you get a stat buff yourself afterward, enemies are going to do 30% more damage to you. It doesn't cancel out the 30% less it does. You're just going to take more damage. So basically you become a frailer setup sweeper, but because you're already, like, you can underspeed some specific things, you can actually get your Warcry boost before after they hit you, right? And yeah, I think it's fine if that's how it's gonna work, because it says takes. I think it'd be solid. Then Call the Wild boost random stat by 2 stages to boost lowest offensive stat by 2 stages. Reasoning, heavily RNG reliant, will encourage mixed sets more, which is awesome. I think this is going to be a very, very cool change. It could make for some very interesting strategies developed, and I'm excited to see what people come up with. Concentrated, to prevent flinching, to prevent flinch, and 1.2 boost accuracy. Unused ability can bring some relevancy in the form of a boost to Finwick and Tazmarauder usage. Tazmarauder was already pretty good, and now it's just getting that so it doesn't miss its Bone Club, which could be solid, makes its other ability, like, I think it's like -1 melee attack, and then you get a +2. I think it's like, I think it'll probably help, and it'll help it hit moves. And now here we are to the nerfs. We have a burn nerf, 1/12 damage to 1/16. Reasoning, best status in the game, make it on par with the other statuses. Honestly, make it 1/20th. I'm just saying, make it 1/20th. Here's the thing. I don't think burn should be that status that you're relying to inflict and then deal like a bunch of damage. Do 1/20th because look, it reduces your healing by 50% and lowers your attack by 50%. And then it still is doing 1/16. I think that's dumb. I think you gotta pick one. Like if you do 1/16, like make it so it heals 25% instead of 50, or you just make it 1/20th. I think 1/20th is better. It more so makes it like an anti-healing status that can be used on hyper-offensive teams. I don't know. I think 1/16th, I don't know. I would like 1/20th more because it already has 2 absolutely insanely good effects on it. Then Fluppy, finally, Superliminal from 50% to 75%. Similarly absurd like Poltergeist, but Plant Light is a notably worse stab combo than Ice Spirit. Yes. Here's the thing. In my opinion, Poltergeist is better than Fluppy, but Fluppy had the happiness of being able to switch in on Bee Summon more than 0 times and to still use its ability. Now it can only do that, what, 3 times, and then it's dead, and it can't use Superliminal anymore. But I guess it would have its healing move. But next key, when Poltergeist gets Siphon Soul, is all going to change. Siphon Soul is going to be an awesome buff for it. But I'd say W. I still think Fluppy, like for like a week, should get the 100% health thing. Just see what they did to Polargeist. Then we have some Core Lizard nerfs. Corrosion. This duel removes hazards every time it uses a poison type move. Reasoning. No longer invalidates hazards while making it way better than other hazard removal options. Yeah, it can throw off offensive moves while also getting rid of traps, which is solid. And it also makes it so you can just go into a metal type or a poison absorb user or a crystal type, right? And it's still fine. But then you have Psycho Force for those crystals, so yeah, I guess there's options. Zerzura. Finally, this thing is boring. 12% healing to 6% healing. Zerzura's biggest weakness is being vulnerable to status or losing its item before it activates. This exemplifies that by all, like, its biggest weakness is being vulnerable to being status. Here's the thing. You shouldn't be rewarded for 12% of your health back a turn. Just for switching in, right? It's so dumb. Zerzura is so brain dead, and it's my least favorite doodle in the entire freaking game. I hate it. It's so boring, dude. It's so... I don't see the fun in Zerzura. You just switch in, and it's just so boring. I just hate it. And I'm glad this change is happening, because Detox, now, its only advantage over Use Crayons is it can't get status, because Use Crayons is better than Detox now. Which is awesome. I really do like it. And Zerzura is the most boring thing in the entire game, and I hate it. And then it's also getting a -8 defense boost. So, yeah. Now it can't really take melee hits all that well now. It can still tank them. Let's see, what's it at right now? Zerzura has... Oh, so we had 91. Okay. So, oh, on par with magical defense. Yeah, that makes sense. Spectatic A. We have Speed of Swag. Only works once per switch in. Makes it unable to stack speed boosts, forcing it to run more speed investment to outspeed everything that it wants to. Yeah. Honestly, I agree. I remember Spectatic A being so busted on release date, but with this, it can only work once. And I think it was still broken even after the rework happened. But yeah. Overall, I'd say like W... I still think there are a few things like Necromancy. I still don't think is going to be good. It could be good, but I don't think it's going to be good still. Still pretty mid. Zerzura W, that thing's boring as heck. I'm excited for Volt Enchant to try that stuff out. Vengeance is always going to be interesting. Mothra A having Tank. I don't know. Spiteless. Theaterra A is probably the winner of this patch because it's no longer... weak to anything and only has resists and immunities. What do immunities become, actually? Now I'm curious. Do immunities become 4 times effective hits? I'm curious about that. We'll see. But yeah, honestly, make Necromancy 60 and boost it by 20 for everything dead. It's only gonna get up to 160 base power, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong. That's a lot. But it's for the late game, and you can bring in a light or basic type. I don't get it. And then it's, like, not helped at all by the fact that Maragrim's thing also says to help with it's balanced by the abundance of light and basic types. See? You're contradicting yourself. Just buff it. But yeah, with all that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see everyone in the next one. Bye-bye!